Before the age of blogs and YouTube, ad blocking existed in some form. The late 90s had some workarounds to block ads, and the 2000s brought even more ways to block them. The rate at which people are blocking ads are nearly exponential. This video will show the history of ad blocking, how they work, and the reasons it rose to mainstream popularity. First couple of reasons: network speed and resource costs. There once was a time when most people had to use a physical phone line to connect to the internet. The days of dial-up were dreadful. Back when I lived in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, my internet speed was limited to 28.8 kilobits per second. This made doing the simplest things on the internet long and tedious. You would have to type in your website, go use the restroom, then make a sandwich, and then come back for one web page to load. Any way to speed up this browsing was essential. Back then, there wasn't any ad blocking extension. However, it was as simple as editing host files. The host file was kind of like having a tiny domain name system, DNS for short, on your computer. The DNS is like a phone book service for the internet in which it turns the web addresses you type onto the top of your web browser into numerical IP addresses. When you browse the internet, any operating system that communicates using the TCP/IP would look into the host file first for any information before connecting to the actual DNS. Adding host names to this file can block certain connections to and from your computer. When you use hosts on a router, this will block connections for all of your networked devices. People in the late 90s would edit this file to increase their internet speeds while decreasing resource costs to their computers. Even though it is simple to edit this file, there are websites today that can generate large host files for you. Editing the host file on a jailbroken or rooted smartphone will not only block ads for mobile web browsing, but also in your apps. This is especially great when smartphones universally have terrible battery lives and overall lesser hardware power. Early in the 2000s, programs were developed that could add and remove bad IP addresses with automated ease. Open source firewalls like PureGuardian, now called PureBlock, were used to speed up and block ads on the internet, as well as increase your privacy. It would only be a short while later that Firefox would leave beta and release version 1. During the second browser wars, Internet Explorer 6 was losing users to browsers with faster rendering times and modular programs called extensions. These extensions could add new functionality to your browser, such as modifying network settings, integrating download managers, and blocking ads to speed up and optimize web browsing. The internet back then was only getting bigger with flash, audio, and eventually videos and files everywhere. With artificial bandwidth caps created by internet service providers, ad blocking is just another resource cost savings measure. Ad blockers work by blocking requests from known advertising domains and subdomains. These programs also go as far as blocking certain iframes and known ad scripts. They inject CSS code to hide ad elements and even block certain image sizes that are most likely to be ads or banners. Ad blockers know what requests to block because of user-made filters, which are often similar to host name blacklists. Additional reasons include security and privacy. Sometime early in the last decade, it was discovered that cookies weren't all that secure. Spyware, adware, and Trojans were becoming ubiquitous by simply surfing the internet, even on safe websites. Running multiple anti-malware programs at this time were starting to become a requirement. Even to this day, people are duped into clicking dangerous ads that disguise as "Start Download" buttons and install alien horrors onto your machines. Adblock went from a power browsing luxury to a necessity in security. I have a day job and personally use Adblock to prevent potentially not safe for work ads from showing up or redirecting my browser. I also have a side job at fixing people's computers. Almost all of my fixes include removing tons of toolbars, a bunch of junkware off of people's machines, and an all-around general performance boost. While it is not in my best financial interest to install Adblock into their computers to prevent this from happening again, I still do it because it is simply too dangerous otherwise. It would be nice if companies would only allow ads that wouldn't be dangerous or grotesque, but is in fact only getting worse. Adblock Plus alone isn't enough. Throw an uBlock origin on top of Ghostery, and you have yourself multiple barriers of protection. With privacy now a growing concern, these programs can also block those social media buttons while adding tracking protection from non-consensual monitoring. Then there is the final reason people use ad blockers, and that is to just block those annoying ads that interfere where you're currently browsing. Companies could go back to simpler, less obstructive, more acceptable ads, but almost no one is holding their breath for this to happen. Pop-up ads have evolved into full-page obstruction ads. There are sites that will load and auto-run 2 video ads simultaneously. There doesn't seem to be much of a solution to counter ad blockers either aside from dropping corporate sponsor ads into creative works, but even that is easily beaten by track forwarding. Individuals could unblock ads on their favorite sites in show of support. However, the burden of responsibility should not be shifted onto us from malevolent and/or annoying advertisers. While people and companies claim they're losing billions of dollars in ad revenue, it's not stopping them from making adblock blockers, anti-ad blocks, or adblock bypassers, but that path will most likely lead to these same problems, but only worse. With ad blocking on mobile devices becoming a greater reality, companies may want to reconsider their problematic ads or else risk getting blocked permanently. With artificial limitations on bandwidth, the misuse of computing resources, security as an afterthought, and privacy a growing concern, people will protect themselves the best they can by using ad blockers or other blockers that counter ad blockers in this arms race of ad blocking. Thanks for watching my first technological social issues video on ad blocking. While I don't have a lot of time, I do want to make my next technological social issues video on piracy, the history and reasons for its popularity.